Good evening, B's, G's, NB's, Peens, Vagines, and in-betweens. I come to you as always as Charles, otherwise known as CPO. Welcome to, it's a weekend. A rare occurrence where I'm doing a weekend live with a weekend live intro, and it's actually the weekend. Hope you guys are being as cool as possible, and I don't mean that like, get down. I mean like temperature-wise. It's apparently very hot all over. I know that because it's hot where I am, and triple digits. For those of you in the Fahrenheit part of the world, kind of gross. It's difficult to be in front of lights. Lights not as much. The computer that I'm in front of it's a desktop, and it's old. It's old by computer standards, and it gets hot. It's been difficult for me to edit and do anything. Not even just editing. Just if this computer needs to think, the fan gets going and it blows just more hot air. And air conditioning isn't a thing where I am, so I've been reserved to doing things when the sun is down, and even then, not the greatest, but I'm just bitching at this point. Ryan, what's going on? Why is this not showing up? We're doing things early today. All right, so that's working. Yeah, if you haven't done so, be sure to subscribe. Well, Idle Yorkshireman says, what do you make of the British heat waves? CP, they hit different here, huh? Hope you're well, mate. I don't know why it's not popping up, because it should... Oh, wait. Come back. Okay. Yeah, oddly enough, if this is a heat wave, not that bad. Because I know for a fact it is worse in the U.S. And the further south you go in the U.S., the worse it gets. New York gets kind of gross. It gets kind of muggy. I know out west it's like it's a dry heat where it's triple digits, but it doesn't feel like you could push the air. New York gets like muggy and gross. The thing is, we have air conditioning. I would like. I realize that the EU especially is a bit more aware of what our things do to the planet. So, plus, it's hot from what I understand. Granted, it's been 4 or 5 days, and it's not July yet. 4 or 5 days where it's just been gross, and not disgusting gross, like uncomfortable. Like I don't want to move. Just keep the refrigerator open, stand in front of that for the rest of the day, and that. But I promise you, it could be worse. It's one of those things where, yeah, I guess if you only experience this stuff maybe a week out of the year, does that warrant spending a couple $100 for an air conditioner? If you're asking me, the answer is yes. But yeah, it's a big expense. I remember when I went to Denmark, and Dennis, the person who I was staying with, I was like, so wait, where are the air conditioners? Why isn't there air conditioning? And he's like, why would we use air conditioning? I'm like, oh no, I'm going to have a bad time. But it turns out, like, as far as Fahrenheit is concerned, Denmark never really got north of 85 degrees. There were a couple of times where I needed a fan, and even with the fan, it was still not the most optimal conditions of comfort, but I was using like New York brain. Like, what are you guys going to do through June, July, August, and half of September? But it's a little different here. I'm a sensitive bitch, but it's a little different, yes. If I need to, I'll go to the. I think the supermarkets have air conditioning here, so I'll just hang out there for the rest of the day. I still don't know what the purple crowns mean. YouTube is trying to do this thing where they're influencing you to comment and super chats and comments in the live stream. Um, there is a like a stream king and queen, and obviously super chats make things a little bit uh, higher in the ratings for the crowns, but uh, an active chatter uh, it gets considered. I don't understand the like the math of it, but like if you're a rather fluid chatter in the stream, you'll get the crown. And money talks. That's not to say that if someone drops a $2 super chat and you're chatting every 2 sentences, um, you're probably getting the crown. But again, I don't have the understanding of it. But like, if getting a crown, being the king of today's stream is what motivates you, right on. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll figure things out. Blimey, eh? Heard it's crazy over there. Yeah, yeah. It's so I know this because I checked backwards. It's in the 30s Celsius in the Northeast right now. It's in 30s centigrade Celsius, whatever, which is north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So if that gives you an idea, like the fan is running here and it says it's 28 degrees with the fan on. Not comfortable. Not a happy SIPO. What's up, Marty? Hey, Charles, found a PS4 in a dumpster where I'm working. Works perfectly, and The Last of Us 2 was on the hard drive. Win-win for the weekend, I'll say. Fucking A. Did someone get so bothered by the television show that they're like, you know what? I'm done with all of this. Take my system, take my game. That's a win. That's a yes. Adam, what's going on? Semi-gross. Whelmingly glow. Yeah, it's grossness that has a relative amount of whelm. Yeah. We don't have air cons, and our houses are heat traps intentionally. Heat waves are so short here. Oh yeah, because the winter is so my experience in Denmark and my experience in the UK is it's cold in the winter way longer than it's hot in the summer. In both my experience, well, I have experience in France for a little bit, Denmark and the UK. Cold is way longer than hot, so I understand why these EU houses would lean towards keeping heat in. And heat's pretty expensive in the UK, like oil and whatever. But when we don't get heat waves, it's a pain. In 2018, we had 2.5 months of nonstop heat wave. That was weird, but I got used to it. Felt like being in Turkey. Well, I'm not going to visit Turkey by that. Then the heat is suffocating here in Texas. 96 with 85% humidity. Yeah, so for the Europeans here, that's 29 degrees. It's pretty gross. Well, it might be 30 on the nose. 96 doesn't matter. It's hot. It's hot, and then the humidity is what you're looking at. You're going to see F1. I've heard great things. I will. I watched a new movie that I really wish I didn't this weekend. I went and saw M3 2.0. Woof. We've also had humid as fuck summers here in Denmark. Yeah, I spent one summer in Denmark, and it was the summer of 2017. 16? 17. It definitely wasn't 18 because I know I was in the US for 18. Either 16 or 17. And there was like 4 or 5 days where it was not great, but a fan was okay enough. And I think when it got a little too hot, I would like shower or something, and that would kind of cool things down. It's just a thing where you want to avoid doing anything when the sun's at its highest. Watch The Dark Knight with my significant other and trying to survive the Ohio heat wave. Yeah, so it's just universally gross. Wait, where is it winter right now? Australia? We all got to go to Australia. That's what we're doing. We're getting on a road trip. Hell, even Germany got these heat trap houses and no aircon. Yeah, not cool. No, I work at a charity shop, and the guy who runs it doesn't take electronics, so stuff gets uh, thrown out in the back. In the skip, that means garbage. I mean, Houston, Aaron, I feel your pain. Sweltering. Yeah, I again, so I guess it could be worse, is what like. It's not comfortable. It could be like, I don't know what I would prefer, a fan and it not being too bad, or it being bad, but you have air conditioning. Because Emily can tell you this when, we were together in New York. That air conditioning was on, May through October, and Emily would wear like a robe. I like it cold, and the reasoning I would give her is you can get you can get cold from hot. No, you can get warm from cold. You can't get cold from hot. Like you could strip down, and if it's still hot, it's still hot. When it's cold, you could put extra layers on, and somehow get a little bit better. So unfortunately, I would put the aircon on for a while, and M would be stacked up like a blanket, stacked up in blankets like it was Antarctica. But I prefer that. I prefer to be cold, and in the winter I suffer because that's where it goes the other way around. Where she has heat on, and I don't need heat. I run hot, so I'm like wearing just a t-shirt and really thin pajama pants, and even then she's still kind of less than warm. So it's an interesting situation. Men and women will never have the same temperature, which is frustrating. 29 C and 85% humidity. Yeah, that should do it. Horrible. Like tropics, kind of. I don't think the tropics get that humid, though. Manny, how are you? It's the humidity that's the killer. Dry heat is great. In Galveston, so right next door. I like it cold and dark where I'm sleeping. I like it cold and dark, just period. If I'm sleeping, that helps too. Dice, aloha. I thought you could get a cold from aircon, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know. If I'm in New York, these months, air conditioning is on. Even if it's like 80, it's going on. I like the lack of thickness. New York gets muggy, like really muggy, where you walk outside and you could it feels like you could push the air. I don't like that. Comfort is a big thing, and as I'm learning here, when the computer's running, it's cooking up extra hot air. So I've been trying to do things when it's dark, because I should see if there's libraries here that it need to be air conditioned first of all, that I could do things there in. All right, enough of the weather talk. This is very British suddenly. Wait a minute. How thin are pajama pants? They're thin like this. They're thin. Oh, are you making an innuendo? Did I walk directly into an innuendo? Okay, so anywho, I've been sent to the topic of the stream. I've been sent a couple of disturbing icebergs in the past. I should mark the time that this is started, because maybe I'll cut up until now, because if you're watching this for disturbing iceberg shit, the first 15 minutes you're like, yeah, I don't care about weather. Bro, wear shorts. No, I got little chicken legs. um, so I've seen a couple of the disturbing iceberg things, and the one that I was sent recently, this most recent time, is the closest thing to what I would call who would like that worthy. And it, when I get sent things and like half of the list is just things I've never heard of that could be arguable, can I say S nuff? Can I say that on YouTube? Like it's half of those movies. It's just like uh, it, I don't want to insult the people that are making those movies, but I don't think there's an artistic goal with a lot of those movies. Like, you know, it just feels like it's trying to go after some sort of reaction, and not in an artistic way, almost in like a challenging way, like, ooh, how long could you watch this? And I understand that a lot of the basis of the who would like that content is these like taboo, these disturbing movies. But like the main thesis, the main goal of, you know, my list of movies, the gathering of the who would like that movies, is there artistic merit in these movies? And a lot of those disturbing iceberg things, like it starts off like the first layer is just like Saw and Human Centipede, and then like by layer 3 it's just like murder babies. Like okay, like I'm never watching this. This is layer 3. So I this most recent one, granted there's a couple that I'm like, what? But this most of the ones I've seen, most aligns with the who would like that type content, where it depending on what your desensitization is, uh, it, a lot of who would like that content, there's at least one per category. I think maybe not the bottom layer, but we'll get into it. I'll discuss, and we can go through it. If you have any experience with these movies, I'm curious, especially if I haven't. But this is I know we've been throwing this idea around. This is going to be my formal invitation and challenge. Do you remember tag videos? I'm too old a YouTuber to remember that people did tag videos on YouTube. Recently, someone asked, I think it was Adam, who asked about the 1999 series, where 1999 greatest year ever, 12-part series where we discussed every month in the year 1999, and I had guests, and it was more like personal experiences than it was movie reviews. Although there were some hints of movie reviews in there, but it was like this variety show of getting contributions from other YouTubers, and I really enjoyed it. The feedback we received from that is nice, but much like something like that, I have something of a challenge for those of you who are feeling eager and have, you know, camera, microphone, or a phone even. I think, you know, with the phones at how well they do things these days, that probably works too. This is something of a challenge. This is the Disturbing Film Contest, or challenge contest. And I have nothing to. There's no prizes. I'm sorry. The prize is lovely experiences with at least 15 movies. So I will show you the movies that are on this list. That there's a bit of a rule process here, and it's gone, and it's gone. Oh no, it isn't. Okay, so here it is, the Savage Cinema Disturbing Film Challenge. It's a total of 15 movies. If you can't make it, that is, um, that's fine. I would like you to document it if you could, but so you can go in any order you want. But on the left-hand side, those are the 10 that I definitely want you to see or to try to see. Listen, there's no if you don't want to do it, obviously don't do it, and if you want to stop, obviously stop. The films that are definitely a part of this list: a Serbian film, Salo, Requiem for a Dream, Irreversible, the original Martyrs, Happiness, Titan, Come and See, Caligula, and the Human Centipede. Now, on the right side, in the red here, the next part is choose 5. So on the left side, all 10 of those movies are part of the challenge. On the right side, in the red, you can choose whichever 5 that you want to try to go through. And again, you could do it in whatever order you want. Like if you want to get the voluntarily, that's not English. If you want to get the voluntary ones done first, that's, I just ask that you keep little vlogs and keep us abreast to your progress. So again, any 5 of these movies of Threads, Faces of Death, Cannibal Holocaust, Kids, Cuties, Lolita. Man, there's 3 of them right there in a row. Kids, Cuties, and Lolita. There's the trifecta. Angst, Dead Girl, The Coffee Table, Elephant, Raw, Baise Moi, The Girl Next Door, We Need to Talk About Kevin, The Human Centipede 2, Bedeviled, Suicide Club, and Hard Candy. Hard Candy I should have put next to Cuties and Lolita and Roulette. So, again, a total of 15. Keep track of your progress. If you just want to send me a link or just send me the video outright, that's fine. And the part of this is I'm curious to know like what we're drawn to and what our desensitization is, because it seems like I've been going through the movies and it seems like while some person is okay with gore, they're not okay with SA. While some person is okay with SA, they're not okay with like war trauma. So I think it's fascinating to see where people's lines are. And I think there's a fair mixture there. And while everyone probably wouldn't watch 15, I think there's a fair chance that if you watch at least the 10 that are firm, I guess I'll re-show that. The 10 that are firm of a Serbian film, Salo, Requiem for a Dream, Irreversible, Martyrs, Happiness, Titan, Come and See, Caligula, and the Human Centipede. If you're to get through all 10 of those, I think, the average fair person will get through those 10 and realize that there's some sort of merit in at least one of them. The thing is, people have different meters there. Like Come and See is just a grueling experience. It's not something that I would say is well, I wouldn't say any of these are a fun watch, but I certainly would say that Come and See has artistic merit. And that's like the big question here. Some of these, like Salo, I cannot, I can't get behind it and say, oh yeah, this is saying something. I mean, the director would tell you that, or if they were still around, they'd tell you that it has something to say. But some of these are like edgy and some of them aren't, but some of them certainly, whether or not you appreciate the film and can get behind it, I think certain people with certain movies would be like, oh yeah, no, I may not like this, but I understand that there's artistic merit here. And again, hearing what their different reactions are is something that while not having, a case study to go on, I'm curious to see what the science behind all of this is, because I know that mine, if I were to just do mine alone, I think what I'm having the most difficult, well, yeah, the most difficult time with is probably the essay stuff. I think like real life stuff is kind of gross. Like I don't have any room for that. It's me that has had experience with filmmaking that thinks about that. Like gore, if you've been on a film set, like it's just the stopping and starting and getting the the corn syrup ready and like uh, there's no real flow to shooting something that if you think about these things as a filmmaker, like it's an hour of setting up and the thing is shot for 20 seconds and they put everything together and they got to clean everything up. Like it, it, it's just so silly if you think about it as like what they were doing behind the scenes. But with the essay stuff, even if it's simulated, it's just uncomfortable. Like you're faking a very unpleasant experience, and like I don't know, like prior to the take and after the take, like what kind of conversations are being had prior to an essay scene? Where does the actor and actress, do they talk to one another? Is it are either of them being method, and it's like even worse? And afterwards, if it's more than one take, what happens afterwards? Like if someone stubs a line or something, I would be terrible for stuff like this. Where I'm like, I would just have my stammer, and we'd have to redo the entire thing because me and my ridiculous stammer. That would suck. Um, so I think that's beneath real life stuff. The essay stuff is where I kind of have the most difficulty, and it could be because it seems like anytime something gets suggested, especially if it's from France, um, that is an element of these movies, and it's just like okay, I've seen some variation on how this is done 15 times, enough already, and yeah, like it's fascinating to see who um whose lines are where. And again, um if you'd like to take part, I I encourage you to, but I also twice as hard encourage you to not. If you're not feeling it, even 5 minutes in, just stop it, turn it off. It's okay. And you could even take a video after the 5 minutes that you've tried and say, listen, I can't do it. This is why. And it's a fun experiment. Um, and I appreciate anyone considering doing it. Um, with that said, I would like to show you something that we can create a fake story here, and we'll see who runs with this. But um, nope, not at all working. I love it. Oh, okay. So here is films that I have watched for who would like that. Either there is content on the channel for these films, or I have watched them in preparation for content. So this is the list, and I just want you to keep track of how many there are. I am not saying anything that is there's nothing in the works. Trust me when I tell you there's nothing in the works. But if we were to go ahead, I'm ready. I'm ready with 31 films watched. But I just thought I put I recently watched. Oh, it's the last one. I recently watched I Spit on Your Grave, and I put it in. I'm like, oh, 31. Well, we have a 31st in July that we can probably get going on. Again, there's no sort of discussion. There's no anything on the horizon. It's just me having a cute little laugh. Um, I don't think Autop Stream. I mean, technically, I've technically we've snuck two in. Both Raw and Titan have been in 31 on 31s. So to get any of them to watch one of, well, maybe not one. You might get 5 people on board to watch one. But I don't think you can get the group to watch 5, 10. I mean, they already watched 2. And I guess that's where the Disturbing Film Challenge comes in. If you were to do Autop Stream 5 on the 5th, I don't know. If you were to get them to do 5, who do you think would pick what? And why do you come to that conclusion? Because that's also interesting. That's the purpose of that challenge, is to see like what people choose and what people can or cannot handle, especially if it's fiction. I've tried to avoid things that are real, but Faces of Death is in that list for this reason. And I guess technically, Cannibal Holocaust would count in there too. I just saw one. Hold on. That's very funny. Aaron says 0 chance Brian would choose any of these. Yeah. That is bad. That is fair. Didn't really like Titan or I Spit on Your Grave. Kind of boring to me. I understand that. I certainly do. And having waited so long to watch I Spit on Your Grave, it is sort of anticlimactic. The mentally challenged character in that movie is a little cartoonish. And again, you have to remember that movie is old. it's what, 50 years old? People with a mental disability weren't actually treated fairly in film. So there's that. Yeah, it's a product of its time, but it's also like horror dreck. So it's kind of hard to point to something for being, I don't know, less safe. Like if that's the only reason you have an issue with I Spit on Your Grave, you probably are right with it. But yeah, it's a little gnarly, and it just kind of ends, and it's just kind of like, oh. Whereas the remake, I can't believe I'm defending. The remake is an easier watch somehow. Of the two, if you had to choose between the two, the remake is a bit more modern, obviously, but I don't know, the way it's put together and narratively speaking, it's I don't know, an easier watch while not being easy. So Brian's doing a 31 on these. Yeah. Wouldn't Brian choose Requiem for a Dream? That's probably all right. So if we're going on Brian, he's watched Martyrs for me. So, oops. Requiem for a Dream, I would agree with that. Come and See, I think he would watch. I don't think we're getting a 3 with Brian. Yeah, I don't think you're getting 3 here. Maybe L? Maybe? Happiness, possibly, because it's a dark comedy. but the subject matter is gnarly. July's 31 on 32, the summer of son of a bitch. I thought I Spit on Your Grave was better than The Last House on the Left. I have not watched the original. I think I did, but not finish it. It's very similar to the original Last House on the Left. I think this would be the first 31 and 31 that Cody would sit out on. Oh, listen, nobody else in Autop Stream would take part in this. It's just I put the most recent one in the list that I have here. And I was like, oh, look at that, 31. I think we're ready. I agree with that. Remakes seem to be easier watches most of the time. I think Requiem is a safe bet for Brian. I don't know if safe bet would be what I say. I think you, Cody, and Rudy would watch all of them, but would be a hard sale to Brian and Sean. I know one of Cody's hard outs, and even though he has watched Coffee Table, I would say we need to talk about Kevin, Lolita, Cuties, probably Cannibal Holocaust, Faces of Death, The Girl Next Door, Kids. I think Cody would be a hard out on those. So it's a fun game to say how far could you get each member of Autop Stream on this. But I think ultimately the entire group, with the exception of me, would maybe not make it through half. Lolita, that's a rough watch. Watch Serbian film on here? Wait, that's a rough watch, but you're asking for a Serbian film? I still laugh at what Jacob once said regarding a joke he made on possible Back to the Future remake with Gaspar Noé directing it, and it really leans into that son. You might get Sean on that. I'm kidding. Yes, the Serbian film is on this list. Yeah, there it is. Right here. I don't know why it does like it's weird that it does the things that I've watched. It's kind of broken. Okay. Aaron says elephant's realism is creepy as hell. See, that's fascinating. Like this is my target here because I was so taken out of Elephant. I think maybe if I had watched Elephant when it came out and thinking about what inspired it, I might feel differently about it. But watching it, like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, like I get it. The artistic choices were frustrating to me. But yeah, a lot of people are drawn to something if it feels like semi-realistic, like they want to know without knowing, if that makes sense. Like, I'd like to watch a fictional film, but what if? How close to real is this? And then like you kind of gauge like, oh, I did all right with that. I could probably handle the real life thing. I don't know if many people are saying that, but it's interesting because people's lines are in different places, I guess. I think the artsy ones are easier to watch, at least for me. Oh yeah, if I think if they don't go to great lengths to show you ridiculous things and things that it's just like, come on, man, you're just putting that in, like you're just putting that in to be edgy. I watched it when it came out in 2003 as a high schooler, so it definitely worked for me. Yeah, if you're like the age range of the people that watch it, it's gnarly, especially I think the reason that or what sparked that was Columbine. So '03 Columbine was still like a big deal. Has anyone seen Red Rooms? It's a disturbing but superb French Canadian film. I've heard it's somewhat recent, if I'm not mistaken. Not heard of Elephant. Yeah, it's a school. Um, pew pew. I can't say. Can I say shooter? Can I say those two words together? I don't know why I'm trying to be so delicate about this. Um, but it's about kids who go to school and go bang bang pew pew. Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely based off Columbine. Love Caligula, the new cut. So I like weird stuff. Well, see, Caligula is just like extravagant porno, is what I would call it. Okay, so let's get to the disturbing iceberg that I am familiar with, or that is closest to the who would like that content. Oh, this isn't that big. And who puts a red font on a blue background? Yeah, if you made this, I apologize, but this is an art background talking. You don't. If you squint and you can't read it, it's not aesthetically pleasing. Aesthetically pleasing. But none of these movies are aesthetically pleasing, so we're all set there. Okay, so at the tippy top there, on the outside of the water, where there's air to breathe. See, like things get progressively way worse really fast, but less so for this. Like some of the lists I've seen, like at the top, it was like Saw, and the next layer down, it was like, you know, a live person getting, World Star video. Like, whoa, whoa, that's the next layer down, huh? So this one's a little bit more fair, tolerable. I don't know. Okay, so at the top layer, Saw, which, yeah, I guess if you're talking about disturbing films and, a normie, someone who loves like rom-coms, somehow stumbles across Saw, that's like a really gnarly experience for them. So obviously, if they were to watch Saw and they would be like devastated by it, you would at least be able to understand, like, okay, this person cannot watch like a lot of, well, any of these movies. If Saw is too much, then okay, we we can't get too crazy with the movie nights. Although I don't know who's getting together for a movie night and throwing on Audition. That's an interesting movie night there. But okay, Saw, Blair Witch Project. I think some of the allure with Blair Witch Project is, well, this is something that I'm old enough to remember. When it came out, we weren't sure. You didn't know if that was real. And I think some of the allure of found footage stuff is they don't really outright tell you that you're watching fiction. And it has this feel, there's this curiosity, there's this insecurity of knowing if it's real or not. But like if you think about these things for longer than 13 seconds, you realize, no, wait, there's no way. Like, you think about the premise of Blair Witch Project, and so they found these tapes, which would have been in the cameras that these people who mysteriously disappeared, all of their footage was found. And who found them? And how did they live? Or did the Blair Witch just bring all of their gear somewhere and drop it off that someone could find it? Like, the second you think about that stuff, or just long enough to use your noggin, it's just like, oh, wait a minute. There's no shot. But if you have fun with that, I understand it. I had fun with Blair Witch Project when it came out. I was kind of in the camp of, oh, this might be real. Um, Psycho, Psycho, and The Birds. Um, like if Psycho probably worse than The Birds, but if The Birds is something that you watch and you're like, I can't handle this. Um, I don't know very many horror movies that you should be watching. Like if The Birds is disturbing, I guess if you have a thing about birds, um, like Birdemic is kind of a not even a step down, like a sideways step down. Like if you can't watch The Birds, I'm curious to know how you would feel with Birdemic. And my grandmother told me that when The Birds came out, that it was a big deal. People were like really scared and looking twice at pigeons on like telephone wire and shit. Um, it I don't know which it that is. I guess I guess all of them. Um, the television multi-part series of it, a bit less serious to take. Um, but again, a lot of these movies at the top, you have to have some sort of like specific thing that like clowns. I know people have issue with clowns, so yeah, obviously it any like anything with a clown in it, like it could be a like a straight children's movie that you just don't like, just one freeze frame and it hits you the wrong way. Um, so like this all depends. I think it's fair to put all of these in the top layer, and some of these like I don't know like if some of these movies are disturbing to you, like you might want to stick to like the Hallmark stuff. Um, The Conjuring, Insidious is up there. The Conjuring, Jaws. I think Jaws would fall under the It category or the Birds category, where if you have a specific issue with the beach, or a lot of people were afraid of sharks after watching that movie, and most of America is nowhere near water, and even more nowhere near where sharks would be. So it's interesting how these phobias get created thanks to film. But Sinister, it's been a while. I don't remember specifically. Exorcist is another one. It seems the less religious that Americans get, the less a big deal that Exorcist was. Again, a lot of family members really like to be scared in my family. And the stories that I would hear about The Exorcist and people like just freaking out and throwing up and not being able to handle the movie. Like you watch that now and you're like, what? Yeah, it's just things change over the course of time. We get used to things, and then the bar just keeps getting pushed. But I can understand. I would assume, especially if you have a bit more religious proclivities, that might be a movie that's something of a no-no for you. That says Halloween on there. Is that the band? So Halloween, which I'm assuming is Halloween, followed next by Friday the 13th. Again, those are pretty surface level. Like if you're disturbed by Halloween and or Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th has a little bit of a supernatural way to it. Halloween, like if those movies disturb you where you're like, I can't. Okay, but I would advise that you not watch horror like ever. Which there's people that are like that. But like if you're entertaining the idea of a disturbing movie and something like Halloween or Friday the 13th you're like, nope, can't, nope, turn this off. I can't do this. I'm not doing this. Like, you really did not entertain the idea of watching disturbing films, which is fine. Yeah, you keep that mental health on the up and up. That's fine. I mean, there's people that, relatively speaking, they think they're edgy, and then they can't sit through something like, Bambi, which some people can't. Animated deer and things happen. Wrong Turn, I think, is a bit more gnarly. Uh, it I think, I guess it has to do with time too. Like, Wrong Turn is about 25 years younger than Halloween, 23 years younger than Friday the 13th. So I get it. Gets a little out of hand for the sequels. Spotlight, is that the Spotlight, the Oscar nominated film from like 10 years ago? Michael Keaton. Okay, so that's subject matter about the Catholic Church and children. I don't think they show anything in that. So it's merely the mention of the scandal that puts this on the list, which okay. Again, like if you're watching Spotlight and you're like, nope, can't do it. I guess there's a little bit of a caveat there where, like, if you don't want to hear about things, understandable. But again, don't know if you're entertaining disturbing. I wouldn't have even thought to put Spotlight on a list like this. And that shows you like where my blind spots are. Like, I don't think of just like talking about a thing as disturbing, especially in film, because film is a visual medium where, you want people to experience something, you show them, but not too much. So Spotlight's interesting. Sicario, it's I don't know if I would call Sicario disturbing in a broad term. Right next to it is Ex Machina. Again, disturbing. I mean, we're kind of living what a disturbing version of Ex Machina is. AI just kind of taking over and having a physical presence. Again, I get the premise of having movies that I guess you can make an argument, but you're not really going to have a solid argument because it's the top layer and you're breathing clean air and you're not underwater. Okay. I'm taking this iceberg premise a little too literally. Dawn of the Dead. Which one? Like, if Dawn of the Dead is on there, then why not Night of the Dead? Why not Day of the Dead? Is this for people that shop in malls? And do people shop in malls anymore? What specifically about Dawn of the Dead? The game and Gone Girl. David Fincher's got some explaining to do. The game, because of the realistic nature in which the games are, the challenges that are presented, and Gone Girl, again, because the character does a thing with lying. Obviously, there's murder in Gone Girl, but there's murder in a ton of movies. Black Swan, I guess you can put that under like psychosis. Some of these I really like. I'd like to hear explanation as to why even bring it up and put it on a list like this. And Contagion, yeah, okay, that makes a little bit of sense. People probably have phobias about, well, I mean, especially after COVID, I'm sure people really, I mean, I'm one of them. Like, when things were gnarly. I try my best to remember like 2021. Can't. There's not any specific thing that I can point to and say, "Yep, this is a thing that I remember. The day before was this, and the day after was this." Like I was anxious on a ton of like depression meds. Maybe it was just like brainwash, whatever the medication I was taking. But I can understand someone having issue with uh, a contagious outbreak. Um, but again, disturbing. Okay. Um, Next layer down. So I don't know if this is too like it looks like it implies that we are officially underwater. Um, so Hellraiser is there. Yeah, it's a little gnarly. Hills Have Eyes. So that's like it's like zombie nuclear fallout. Again, that could probably go in the wrong turn category. So this is where I get hazy with some of these things. Old Boy, very good movie. A lot of these. I mean, Sicario is something I would suggest. Gone Girl, Spotlight. Those are movies that I would like. You should try to, and if you can't, that whatever. Psycho. But Old Boy is something that I'd be like, try to watch it because it's pretty good. There's subject matter in Old Boy that you know not everyone is okay with, but I think in the setting that it is, like most people when they watch a movie, they know that some extravagant things are going to happen. Otherwise, why would I be intrigued enough to watch this? Because it's it's fiction. Or what? I don't know. Is this not working? Okay, it's not working. The Hunt, which is that like that's a recent movie, isn't it? That's where like people are like hunting each other. Betty Gilpin's in it, if I'm not mistaken. That's like a different variation on The Purge, sort of. Like people turning on their neighbors freaks people out. I guess in the time of COVID, when everyone's stuck home, and there's this civil war without being a civil war. Things get a little heated. Midsommar, I guess that falls under like cult type stuff. I think something that I've noticed since spending time in Europe is a lot of film or horror. Something like Hostel did it, and I noticed it a little bit for Midsommar, making Europe or usually any other not America country seem like this crazy other world is something that kind of freaks Americans out. And I would say that Midsommar would probably fit in that. But like if I had my choice, I would like mix and match, and some of these I just wouldn't even have on the list outright. Could it be Mads Mikkelsen's The Hunt? Could it be? That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, there's no like clarification on here. The person who put red font over blue background did not specify what they're doing, and they spelled Halloween. Hereditary. Okay, so this is the first time that I'd be like, yeah, that should be on this list. Somewhere on this list. Hereditary is brutal. And again, going back to like relatively speaking, someone could watch Hereditary and just be like, didn't do anything for me. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's boring. We're all different. As someone who's experienced trauma, Hereditary is just a brutal. It's just a brutal experience. I know for a fact if I had watched something like Hereditary when I was a kid, a teenager, I would have been like, I don't know why people like this. This is stupid. And my only idea of like disturbing horror, thriller, my only way to gauge those three when I was a teenager was gore. Gore. Does something, is there action with gore in it? That was the only way I would contemplate, just like, oh wait, it's just like feelings. That's dumb. I don't want to watch this. So, you know, we all go on these journeys with these things. 7. Yeah, I would put that with Saw. It's weird that Saw is just like a tweaked version of 7, but Saw is up a level and 7 is here. I think I guess what, because 7's a bit more realistic because it's better. Like it you know, we're really including Fincher a lot on this list. Clockwork Orange, yeah, that for the time certainly that's a gnarly movie. And I think if you put yourself in the mindset of, wow, what if people like this exist? Spoiler, people like that do exist. It it if you get to thinking about that and like Skeet Ulrich says in Scream, movies don't make psychos; they make psychos more creative. I I don't doubt for a second that something like a Clockwork Orange didn't give people ideas. Too much talking. Luckily, there's only 6,000 movies left. The Strangers, is Tamara home? Um, yeah. Oh, okay. Home Invasion. I guess. Sure. Okay. Yep. Bone Tomahawk. Yes. Yes, that should be somewhere on this list. I don't know how to properly gauge the levels, but Bone Tomahawk. I think it's more jarring when a movie is normal, like sort of normal for a stretch, and then something just gnarly happens. If sometimes, if only for a scene, sometimes for a portion of the movie, but like if you were to cut out the gnarly part and people were to be able to watch that movie and kind of get an idea of what they're watching, I think that's intriguing. Um, Lost Highway, I have not seen that. I don't think I've seen that this century. So maybe I need to recheck up with that. Maybe not. I don't know. I Saw the Devil, Korean film. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's. I would put that in like a little bit more of a extreme 7 category. I think I Saw the Devil is something that you can get like normies, where normies watch 7 and Saw. You could probably sneak I Saw the Devil in there. They're going to have to be able to want to watch a film with subtitles. But like, I think if you're like, oh yeah, 7's fine. You could probably sneak I Saw the Devil in there. Festen, that I'm assuming is Danish, Marcy, because I know Klessefesten is And let's check with the judges here. Festen. It's funny how I know that word only because of watching movies in Denmark. Okay, so let's Festen is Danish. Okay, so I recognize the language. Yay for me. No poster. 2013, a young man is dead. We experience a moment from the night before, frozen in time. So the review says wrong Festen. Look at that. I fell for it. and there's nothing else on here. Oh, wait a minute. Thank you, Marcy. No, 1998. Is this it? The celebration, which also says Festin. Look at Marcy go. Very good. Every family has a secret. The family of a wealthy businessman gathered to celebrate his 60th birthday. During the course of the party, his eldest son presents a speech that reveals a shocking secret. Jesus, can I show you what the score is? Holy smokes. Come on. I can't. Oh, wait, I can. I can't. 4.3. Do you know how many movies I see with anything north of a 4 on Letterboxd? I think it's the first. Well, no, I think The Thing is a 4 something. Wow. So suddenly, for the score reason alone, I'm intrigued. All right. I'm writing it down. Yay. I'm using a Disturbing Film Iceberg thing to recommend me films. What is wrong with me? Where's 27 Dresses land? I still check under my bed for Katherine Heigl. That's way deeper. We didn't get to the bottom yet. You have to go to the Ocean Gate portion of this iceberg to find 27 Dresses. That's a really poor taste, that joke. I apologize. Okay. So Festin, I have no context. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would probably say, yeah, more so than Halloween and Friday the 13th, and even more than, I would say, Wrong Turn. I think the gritty nature in which it's shot and presented make it feel like, I don't know, the more dingy something is, the more realistic. Go back to Blair Witch. Crash. I'm assuming it's not the 2005 Oscar winner, but the Cronenberg Let's Crash and Fuck. That movie. I saw it. But I guess if you're weirded out by car accidents, to have people who are not weirded out by car accidents, if anything, they're kind of rah about crash and fuck. That's what it should be called. Retitle this Crash and Fuck. Hostel. Go back to earlier. Requiem for a Dream. I think that's kind of high. But again, it's all relative. Depending on what your thing is, something could be way lower or way higher. Requiem for a Dream, you might be able to show that to the entire world and get people to never take drugs. And I think that's how powerful something like Requiem for a Dream is. It's that third act is brutal. And I think the fact that it's shot and edited in such a flashy manner is, I don't know, it'll draw people in with its quality filmmaking. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. There's artistic merit in something like Requiem for a Dream. It's gonna nail some people. You're gonna have a hard time. But I think it warrants a watch. It's well made. Dancer in the Dark, I am unfamiliar with. The Woman, I am unfamiliar with. All right, so now we're going a little out of Raw. Yes, Raw is a part of my list. Um, yeah, for cannibal reasons, sure, I would include Raw, especially like if you're like in the film a vegetarian. If you watch Raw as a vegan, that's that's a rough time. Suicide Circle, I think, is Suicide Club, which is a Japanese film from early 2000s. Um, I guess you could file that under like culty type movies. Um, The Woman is Okay. It's a sequel. A sequel to what? Is The Woman a sequel to Dancer in the Dark? I'll definitely be checking out some of these that people have recommended. Yeah, I literally, I don't know if you were here for it, but I wrote down the Festin or the Celebration. Can't remember. All right, fair enough. Um, so I think Suicide Circle is Suicide Club, Japanese, early 2000s. Freaks, watched that in film school. Um, I guess you could file that under real life stuff and keep in mind that nearly 100 years ago, the sense of other was a bit less classy, certainly in media. So having people who are not like us in this different light is for educational purposes. Maybe you'd want to watch Freaks, kind of like um, oh, what's the film? I always forget the German the parade one that I've had to watch in film school. Very good documentary, um, well structured, kind of horrifying. I mean, it is like the go-to film when people talk about propaganda. It was that that mesmerizing. It was just that devastating for me that I've just refused to remember the title. I always forget the title of this movie. But yeah, I think they might even show that in schools that aren't film school. But I think Freaks is in the same discussion there. Nation's Pride? No, that's the film from Nation's Pride is the film within Inglorious Bastards. Inglorious Bastards has erased my memory of regular World War II stuff. Elephant, yes. I would say. It's in my list, and I think my list is like a normie introduction to some of this stuff. Granted, some of them are deeper levels, but I would certainly include Elephant. And if you're a high school kid, until you're out of school, that shit could be just horrifying. Climax, that's a Gaspar Noé film. I have not watched it. I know that's been recommended. Have not watched it. Under the Skin, that's the Scarlett Johansson film where she's an alien. The Woman is a sequel to The Offspring. Thank you. Under the Skin, I don't know why it would be put so low here. I guess the idea of an alien using the idea of a human body to seduce us stupid men. Yeah, I think I have like mental block because I forgot what the hell the movie was when Scarlett Johansson was with. It was like this threesome movie with Javier Bardem, and she didn't look ugly in that. And me and my ape brain was thinking, oh wow, Scarlett Johansson's in this sci-fi movie, and without clothes. So there are times where I just use ape brain. I'm just, who needs context? There's nudity. So as much as I mock Hollywood for nudity, sometimes it works. And yeah, Under the Skin is gnarly. I don't know if I would put it on that level. Again, maybe I'm putting a block up because of the alien factor, the fact that it's not a human that's doing these things. A few really good scenes in Under the Skin. Yeah. Again, like I'm not trying to harm anyone, but at the same time, if you here, I'll give you what teenage boy ape brain is. You see a pretty girl, and you think, "Wow, she's pretty. I wonder what she looks like naked." I don't want any context. I just want to know what she looks like naked. Unfortunately, that is true for a fair amount of young men, and then eventually you grow up and say, "Wow, that was kind of weird that I was thinking like that." But I am guilty of that, and I can't tell you how many times I would watch a movie without really caring about the the context or the subject matter. It was just, oh, girl that I know from this other thing and naked, so awesome. I apologize. I have since reformed, but I do remember these times. The girl with the dragon tattoo. So there's two of those. I would sooner recommend the Swedish trilogy. Although this person who's made this list appears to like their Fincher. Okay, so that's this for the second layer. This red font on the blue background is killing me. I think more so because I'm blind. Am I able to move this at all? Nope. Is that the end? Oh, nope. Okay, so layer 3, which fudging hell. All right, so last house on the left. I actually like Adam Pearson in Under the Skin. Yes, you'll recognize some people that are still working today and still in Hollywood's call sheets. Yeah, yep. It's a very interesting movie. Once I started watching it to be concerned with the story, it certainly warrants a watch. But if you have a teenage boy ape brain, there are other reasons you're going to want to watch that movie. But yeah, once you get all that through your system, I would certainly recommend Under the Skin for a sci-fi horror fan. Last House on the Left. I remember the remake more than the original. So I think in both cases with Last House on the Left, certainly I can speak to I Spit on Your Grave as having seen I Spit on Your Grave recently, the original, that is. The modern remakes of them water down some of the subject matter and kind of gloss up. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're making it like Disney-fied, but like a lot of the grit and dank 1970s nature of Last House on the Left and I Spit on Your Grave, that's kind of gone in their remakes, and it's easier to go process. I was going to say go down, but subject matter. The Juice Maine says, I think Last House remake is better. See, I want to say that, but without like reacclimating myself. I don't think I finished the original, so I would agree with that, but I don't have all of the information. Possession, which is something I just recently watched, wild movie. It's weird, it's trippy. I would probably put Possession in a category for like psychosis reasons. But yeah, I there's an element there where uh, an unhuman, unhuman thing is having relationships, so that we could put possession loosely in the under the skin category. Although under the skin is something resembling a human being, whereas possession is a thing doing things with humans. And right after that, kids. Uh, kids is kids. I'm more concerned for the filmmaking process. You know, having a bunch of 15-year-olds, and granted, it's easy to be on the other side of things and be like, well, when I was 15, I would say all this shit and do all that stuff. Yeah, um, but something like kids, bunch of 15-year-olds who are sexually active and just doing a whole bunch of crazy shit for adults. Like I just think that people consider it groundbreaking because the actors are of the age. Um, but the filmmakers are, you know, over 18. Uh, um, I like I put myself in the mindset of like being on set and being like, okay, now here, um, do adult things and talk like an adult and this and that. Kids is a movie that uh, their target audience is the people that are in the movie, but they also wouldn't be able to buy a ticket for that movie. So it's weird. It's like this unspoken thing where uh, if you're a 15-year-old watching that movie, you're like, yeah, this is how we do things. But the movie theater won't sell you a ticket for that show because you're not supposed to experience those things, even though people do speak like that and act like that. Uh, it's weird. I mean, it might be considered dated by today's standards. It's what, like, is it 30 years old now? Whew, man, hard candy. Yep, that you could connect that to kids with the age issue. Hard candy is like I would say that's a good movie. It's impressive. It's again, it depends on where your line is. Like just putting these in like these brackets when a lot of their subject matter is quite different. Maybe I will make a disturbing film. I don't know. Is there a sideways iceberg where it's just like these categories? Like, hey, if you don't like kid stuff, here's a movie that you'll have a hard time with. If you don't like SA stuff, here's 6,000 movies that you're gonna have a hard time with. Or maybe like have these different categories, but like different levels within that category. I've done it. I don't know. Can you lay an iceberg on its side and then still have different levels? An iceberg squared. Yeah, this is all in the process of getting worked out. All right, so hard candy. Yeah, some of these I would move up. Some of these I would put down. What's this iceberg for? First date movies. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting to know one another. Oh, so what's your favorite color? All right, so this movie's called Kids. I haven't heard much about it, but yeah, probably a family film, right? Let's check it out. Mysterious Skin Michael. Are those two movies? Three movies? Is it Mysterious Skin and then Michael? Michael with John Travolta? I'm unfamiliar. Let me let me let me do my due diligence. All right, so it might be Mysterious Skin. And then Michael is something else? Two boys, one can't remember, the other can't forget. Uh-oh. A teenage hustler and a young man obsessed with alien abductions cross paths together, discovering a horrible, liberating truth. Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Michelle Trachtenberg, rest in peace. Marilyn Rice-Cub, Elizabeth Shue. What's the score on this? 4.2. What is going on here? Writing it down. I've inadvertently recommended 2 films from the there are no 1-star 5, there are no half stars. It only starts getting going at 3.5 stars. Holy smokes. Oh, okay. You see, I'm trying to get away from these movies, and suddenly I have 2 more to watch. Stupid young man. All right, so Mysterious Skin Michael. Bad Boy Bobby. Yeah, I can't make some of this out. The Eyes of My Mother. The Eyes of My Mother. Nope. I thought it was somewhat recent. It is from 2016. A young, lonely woman is consumed by her deepest and darkest desires after tragedy strikes her quiet country life. And this has a score of 3.4. Oh, wait. We're going to see what Roger had to say about it. Roger, in 2021, said, dark, brooding, haunting, and extremely disturbing. It's beautifully wonderful. Filmed in glorious black and white and gorgeously shot, this film will begin to crawl into your soul and never stop along its way. I adore films like this, and I'm so happy whenever I come across one. Films that burrow deep into your body as you watch them. Films of true horror without the overabundance of cheap shocks. Films that make you sit back after viewing, stunned at what you witnessed, and with that dreadful knowing that it will haunt your mind for the days after. With films like this, I only wish to describe how I feel about them and never to describe what the story entails. Films like this should be seen without the pre-knowledge of anything about them upon first viewing. Well, how are you supposed to do that? If you're into films like this and wish to view this wonderfully dark horror tale, don't read synopsis. Don't view the trailer. Just prepare yourself for a fantastic and extremely haunting time. I myself cannot wait to view it again. I miss you, Roger. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I really am, and I don't mean to be sappy, but I'm really glad Roger kept notes and did reviews and things, because at least us on the internet can go back and experience his feelings on things. The Eyes of My Mother is good, but I don't know about disturbing. Okay. Yeah, is it points against if the movie is good but not disturbing? For the sake of the iceberg, I mean. All right, so does that say just plain naked? This is really hard to read these letters. I'm assuming there's a film called Naked. Oh, there's a bunch. A 1993 film with a score of 4.0. When unbalance leads to submission. An unemployed Brit vents his rage on unsuspecting strangers as he embarks on a nocturnal London odyssey. Hmm. Is there any other kind of London Odyssey? Okay. So I guess that's it. Again, another one with a 4.0 on Letterboxd, and I'm watching garbage. Uh, Enter the Void. I have not seen that. Ex Drummer. Eraserhead is something that I would certainly agree with. That's an interesting experience. The Snowtown Murders. I want to say that I've seen that. Oh, wait. Wait. This says just Snowtown. Australia's most infamous crime story based on true events. 16-year-old Jamie falls in love with his mother's new boyfriend and his crowd of self-appointed neighborhood watchmen in a relationship that leads to a spree of torture and murder. I'm assuming it might be that. And Patrick says pretty messed up. Well, that would make sense. Snowtown, Chinatown, Snowden. Okay, it might have an alternate title, or maybe it's a different movie. But Patrick seems to recognize it. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. That deep on the list. I don't know if it would be third tier, but again, I don't know if that says something about my lines and whether or not certain films cross it. Pink Flamingos, real life stuff, but I guess if you have an issue with like it, if you can why isn't Jackass on any of this? Jackass, I would put Pink Flamingos in the same category wherever Jackass would be, because something really happens, but I don't know if harm would be what I would. Anyway, like Pink Flamingos is one of those ones that like you probably know what it is before seeing it, or you probably know what it is without seeing it. So it's one of those ones that like it has infamy for reasons. Certain people might think that it doesn't live up to it, and some people may not be able to handle it. Guilty of Romance. Is that Maniac? Oh, that's the slasher. Yeah, these are. This is interesting. I wish I had saved one of the other ones, because some of the other ones that I've been sent, like by the third tier, things are just like ridiculous. None of it would be stuff you've heard of, and all of it is like real life stuff and not something that any human being who's having film discourse on Letterboxd would consider. And that's like the third tier. At least here, for better or worse, they're sprinkling things in that, like, I don't know if it would be in that tier, but I recognize some of the titles. So, yeah, Maniac. Yeah, okay. Isla She-Wolf of the SS. I've heard of that. I have not seen it. Nymphomaniac. I've watched. If you don't have issues with like sex, that may not be that big a deal to you. Again, I keep saying this, but I guess it depends on like what your tastes are and where the borders are for you and what is too much. Nymphomaniac could be way too much for some people, and not even registering for others. The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. That's a party. Unfamiliar. Repulsion. Unfamiliar. what? Thirsty Mine Palms? Whoever did this. No need to show the iceberg. Just white font on a black background, please. Eden Lake, that has been brought up to me. I have not seen it. Looks like Frontiers. Yeah, now we're getting to a point where I'm very unfamiliar with these. High Tension, I've seen. The ending is noteworthy and is discussed quite a bit. It's jarring, and I think most people, when you think about it for long enough, you're like, wait a minute, fuck this. But it has something to discuss. It has some sort of relevance in conversations like this. Repulsion is a really good Polanski film. Oh, okay. Yeah, some of these, like, I'm just purposefully, some I'm just blind spot to, ignorant to. I can't watch them all. I find it wild that Peacock had Cannibal Holocaust in their catalog. Didn't think they would have the balls to do that. Oh, I mean, yeah, it doesn't cost them anything to have it on their service, right? Like, if you're going to look for it, you're going to look for it. And if you have, like, you know, parenting, I don't know what the hell they call that, like family blocker or whatever. It wouldn't be coming up anyway. So yeah, I wish Netflix used to be like that with, you know, some R-rated, not rated stuff, and then they just like decided to not. It's very hard to find what you would have no issue finding in a blockbuster 20 years ago. They don't have many back wall titles on Netflix, and that's kind of crummy, especially since they charge the most out of all the streamers. Yeah, I'm having a hard time here. An American Crime, New York Ripper, Dogtooth. Yeah. I've watched that. That's an interesting movie. I don't know what category to put that under, but I don't think gore. It's not one of the. It's one of those like. Yorgos Lanthimos, interesting person. Hostel 2. Sure. Did we not say Hostel 1? Okay. Hostel 2, but not Hostel. All right. Sure. The House That Jack Built. Yep. That came out recently, last 5 years or so. Okay. It's one that like I don't have much interest into getting around to, but I guess if there was demand for it, I might have done a Who Would Like That video on that. The Poughkeepsie tapes. That was produced by a patron. If you want to see my thoughts on Poughkeepsie tapes, it's on the channel. If I were smart, I would have put a link down below, or like popping up over my head now. So we'll see. We'll see if I do things in the future. Strange Circus. Unfamiliar. It's wild that I've seen quite a, like I've either seen it and I'm quite familiar with it or just have no idea. Strange Circus, I'm not familiar with. We need to talk about Kevin. Yeah, I've seen it. I would say this is a harder watch than Elephant. And again, this falls under like the same thing that you would put Hereditary in. It's just fucking just terrible. The trauma in it, just I don't know. It's like visual depression. Like if you want to know what it's like to be mired in depression, watch something like Hereditary or something like my mind has gone blank. We need to talk about Kevin. uh, and realize that there are human beings that have these type of emotions, lives. The only thing that kind of takes me out of when you talk about Kevin is the weapon of choice. But I guess that's something that I appreciate to kind of like blur the line. Like, oh yeah, this is a movie because who would do that? Uh, Klaus, Klaus. Man, I thank God this is a like 15 kilobyte image with red font on a blue background. There's 6 pixels on this image. Is it Lilja Forever? Antichrist. That's another one that's just brutal on the morale. Gummo. That you could probably put in the kids category. Just fucked up experience. I need to rewatch it. Like a lot of these movies that have some sort of infamy, I watched when I was younger. Again, and I'll say it again, because it was like, ooh, people can't handle it. Let me watch it. And I was expecting like gore, sex, or something like action or realistic. And if it wasn't, it was just like, oh, that's dumb. So whenever I did watch Gummo, I was just like, this isn't specifically what I'm looking for. So this is dumb and or boring. So I probably need to go back and check it out. Happiness, however, I keep meaning to do we've watched it again, and Happiness is the greatest, worst movie you can watch. There are things that happen in there that it's not even like one specific thing. It's just a ton of socially terrible people in a movie together, and they have different levels of social fuckedness. And the asterisk warning of there's a couple of things, but children, they don't really show you anything. Maybe I should just do the video. If you want to see me do the happiness video, comment down below. But it depending on what I could say this every single time, depending on your taste and what you can handle, I would say Happiness is kind of worth a watch. And it's darkly funny, which I don't know. Maybe that's saying something. What the fuck? Is that Tetsuo the Iron Man? That's one. It looks like it says Tetsuo. That's one that's kind of like been in the background. I know I need to see it. I don't own it, so that's like my shorthand excuse. I don't have it, so what do you want me to do? Audition, own it, have watched it. I think it's great. I don't know if I would put it that far down, but if you're creating fake movies to cast for and then start dating the people that you've set this big charade up for, it's wild. It's hysterical that Audition came out way before, like, Me Too, the shit hit the fan with that. And it's like, wow, they were trying to tell us so many years ago. And, it's an interesting story. And I don't know if I would call it disturbing for specific reasons. I guess where I'm falling on this is if terrible people do terrible things, maybe karma catches up. I guess it's a fiction, so there's that. So I'm not like rooting any sort of negative things to happen to any real people, but fictional characters, Coffee's cold. Um, life and death of a porno gang. The cremator. The piano teacher. It's hard to be a god. Singapore sling. That sounds like a. I'm going to get in trouble. That sounds like a sex act. Could that be a racist thing? Or an un. I'm claiming ignorance here. Singapore sling sounds like a sex move that idiots in high school would claim that they did to a girl that is not even aware of their existence. Singapore sling. It doesn't look English. 1990? Trapped in a deadly game of torture and murder. Singapore sling is chasing after Laura, a romantic memory from his past. One night he finds himself in a mysterious villa, watching two women bury a body. He falls into their trap, and in an atmosphere of isolation and decadence, the trio act out insane pleasure games and a ritual of blood and murder. All right, so maybe it is some sort of code word for a sexual act. Me and my two partners are going to do a Singapore sling on each other. So weird. Where am I? Inside? Is that the pregnant movie? It's wild. I see some of these titles and I'm like, really? That far down? So I don't know what the fuck that means. Oh, wait. Oh, I don't think it's the 2023 version. The 2016 version, that's the a man's life. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. Wait, this might. I don't know. I don't like. There's no like asterisk on that list. A man's life, thoughts, feelings, and his very own darkness, adapted from Dostoevsky's novel Notes from Underground, follows as he gets himself invited to a party where he's not welcome, just to find himself disgusted. I thought it was the pregnant movie about pregnancy. Nope, I don't want to know the year. Yeah. Some woman would kill for a baby completely on her own. Sarah spends her time at home waiting for the approaching birth of her child, but one night a stranger breaks into her home, ready to snatch her still unborn baby from her. Okay. So if you search for the 2007 version, the one people actually want to see. Okay, so is this yet another American remake? Scarred for life after a harrowing near-death experience, emotionally fragile mother-to-be, Sarah is still struggling to come to terms with her loss. Overcome with silent grief, Sarah now seeks solace in work. However, she's on a collision course with the sheer terror when a knock at the door in the dead of night chills her bones to the marrow. Now, raven-haired, late-night visitor in black wants something precious from Sarah, and it will stop at nothing to get it. I want to say that's French, and I want to say I have rated it. So I've seen this. I love having my memory sometimes because like me from the past scores this. I'm looking that I scored this and watched this, and as much as I'm tempted to say, I think I've seen this. Judging by my letterboxd, I absolutely have. So I think it's French, and I always get inside and teeth mixed up, and they're kind of different. Yeah, thank you, Troy. Yes, yes, it's French. Pregnancy and scissors. I think that's the key element there. Scissors, like teeth. The key element there is, well, teeth. Sex teeth. That's what the movie should have been called. Sex teeth. I'm not trying to say that teeth is on the same level as inside. It's just it always seems to resort to the sexual regions with these movies. The Seventh Continent, The Vanishing. Who can kill a child? I don't know. Who can? Cannibal Holocaust. Interesting. Men Behind the Sun. Cold Fish. The Human Centipede 2. Yeah, I would probably put Cannibal Holocaust. Because of the real life nature, I would put Cannibal Holocaust below Human Centipede 2. Shogun Sadism, Cargo 200. Yeah, now we're getting a little. I'm not even recognizing titles at this point. Philosophy of a Knife, Viva la Muerte, Feed. All right, we're getting into different languages now. Dumplings, My Chan's Daily Life, the movie. That sounds like an animated feature. Zoo, just Zoo. I feel like a film titled Zoo can be so many different things. Is it really the top one on here? Is it really the top one on here? Look at how many movies are called Zoo. Take your pick. Which zoo do you mean? And they all kind of have animals and shit on them. Some of them are the zoo. Well, I guess we'll click on the first one. Through interviews and recreation, Zoo tells the story of zoos, or men who love animals. Through a group of men involved in the fatal incident of involving man-horse love. I think that's it. I think that's the one in question. Wait, is this real? Roger, I cannot stress how much I miss you. All right, Roger, take us through this. Yeah. So I don't know who this movie is for or why it was even made. It's more of a documentary. No. With interviews by the supposed people who were the part of this story. Question mark? With a question mark? It's a tale of a group of men that get together on a farm and basically go, Catherine the Great with a horse. Oh. And the unfortunate incident of one man's death by such deed. So this is real. The film is droll and somewhat intriguing to a point because you really don't know what you're going to see or find out about the incident if such were really true. Okay. Thank God it was only an hour and 10 minutes long. That's an hour and 9 minutes too long. It was intriguingly filmed well for a disturbing story, but maybe if it was about another subject matter. I'm never going to watch this again. I honestly don't think anyone else should watch it unless they are curious to see something like this. This was on my list of so-called list of disturbing films to watch. Well, I wasn't so much disturbed as I was meh. Fucking hell. Thank you, Roger. What in the illegal in most states? And it's on Amazon? Is it on Amazon? There's like 1,000 movies titled Zoo, so I don't know if I don't know if that's it. But apparently it's a documentary. I think I forgot. It might have been Emily that told me about this dude who I don't know if he was a content creator or someone on social media who had an affinity with creatures and was on like an orgy. Although I would argue that all members of the party should be giving consent. I don't know in this instance if in a court of law you can get any sort of clarification that the horse was okay with this. But I don't know if this is the same story, and I don't know if this was real life or just a thing that gets passed around the internet because, ooh, spooky. But someone was the receiver from a horse and died. Like the people that were there at the zoo or the Zorgy brought the person to a hospital, but they had been penetrated to death. Be sure to click that like button and say goodbye to my AdSense. Singapore Sling is a cocktail? All right, so I've dismantled my process here. Where am I? Oh, we were looking at zoo. I can't read that next one. Do we have more of this left? Death BT Snoo Snoo? Are you having a stroke? Do those letters mean things? Oh my God, we have a whole nother. Oh, we have a whole nother 2. At least it gets darker so I can read the words. Okay. Come and see. That's really low. Yeah, if I guess it falls under trauma and I guess gore and like war, gnarly war shit. It is a chore to get through, but much like Requiem for a Dream, I think artistically speaking, it says something. I think if you watch that and you somehow participate in advancing any sort of war, like you need to be checked out. There are a ton of war movies where you watch it and you're like, how the hell do we keep doing this? Come and See might be like the granddaddy of all of them. It's laborious. But again, if we're just going on trauma alone, I would have to rearrange all of this. So, yeah. But based on trauma, Come and See it probably should be low. Other than that, yeah. I mean, I think disturbing and challenging is all in the eyes of the beholder. Uh, uh, I would hate to have a discussion with someone or have someone who's watched all of these and isn't phased by any of it, and then have them suggest me a movie. Like I would not be comfortable where they're like, oh yeah, I checked that iceberg out. All those movies are meh. Didn't do anything for me. Anyway, here's this movie. You should check it out. Um, I'm not returning those phone calls. In a Glass Cage, unfamiliar. Salo or 120 Days of Sodom. Again, content on the channel. You can watch my baffled thoughts on this movie. I'm tempted to if you just binge all of my Who Would Like That videos, you would see over the course of time I kind of steer away from the just confused at what the hell I'm doing for like comedic effect, and slowly try to I don't know, have something to say that isn't just me looking like a deer in headlights because I've just watched the worst thing ever. Um, I'm tempted. It would mean I'd have to watch it again. So big barrier behind me doing it. I'm tempted to redo a video on Salo where I like genuinely talk about the artistic merit. Did it get a 4K release? I mean, Caligula got one, and so like if ever there's a reason for me to dust off the 4K player and make new content, it's as simple as that. Which happiness falls in that category. So if there's a 4K of Salo, maybe we'll go back and George Lucas the original Who Would Like That video. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's been a very long time since I've seen that, but again, that probably falls under the people being intrigued because it feels real. And again, swinging back around to the people that watch things like this, and they get more creative due to things like this. I think the infamy at this point supersedes the film itself, but keep in mind, I've watched a bunch of these movies at this stage where my desensitization is just broken. Cold coffee. Martyrs. Yeah, Martyrs is one that I would say fits under the try to watch it. Try to watch it because it's fucked up, it's gnarly, but man, it's a you know what? I'm not saying that they're the same, but you can kind of crisscross some of the discussions and some of the themes of these movies. I would say watch Heretic first, the movie from last year. Just came out. I think if you're in Europe, Heretic is on Prime, and if you're in the US, it is on Max. I might have that backwards. Oh wait, there's no Max in Europe. Never mind. I think that's what it is. I think it's on Prime in Europe and Max in the US. But if you're intrigued at the discussions between the religious what if-isms in Heretic, and you would like something with a bit more bite, I would say try to watch Martyrs. There's way more extreme shit happening in it, and it gets gory as hell. But I feel like if you take the gore out of something like Martyrs, there's kind of a Venn diagram for Martyrs and Heretic. I realize someone out there probably just strongly disagrees, but I'm letting you into my cavernous brain. And irreversible or irreversible in America, that is still the most brutal 10 minutes I have the displeasure of watching. The opening 40 minutes or 30 minutes is just a chore due to the imagery and the audio, and it's just nauseating in every sense of the word. Camera just spinning, this weird like droning noise. Like it just, I don't know. If you want to know if there's a cinematic way to present a hangover, the first 20 minutes of Irreversible is what I would say. This is a hangover. Like this is what hangovers feel like. And then there's that scene, and it's brutal. But the last half, if you've made it past the scene in Irreversible, a very long 10-minute struggle snuggle, which I think there was 4 takes of, which that just breaks my brain. 4 takes. What I mean by that is they had to film that scene 4 times. I can't. It's brutal, but fiction. So there's that. I Stand Alone, good Godsmack song. Unfamiliar with the film. The Art of Killing, unfamiliar. Funny Games, really that low, huh? I own Funny Games, or at least the original. I keep meaning to check in and I don't even know if it's available anymore. The American remake of the same director. They're the same but a little bit different, oddly enough. I own Funny Games. I probably should refamiliarize myself with it. I don't know what about it makes it that low. Like technically lower than Human Centipede 2? Lower than Cannibal Holocaust? Can my voice go any higher? Like Funny Games lower than lower than Singapore Sling, for Pete's sake. Come on. Yeah, I need to refresh my memory with that, because that's not something that I would think of like, oh, I cannot watch that. So here's this fascinating look at whose lines are where, because like Funny Games isn't, granted my memory's dog shit, so it's not like there's no bright red light coming on for me. So either I've mentally blocked it out, or I don't understand why it's that low on the list. Man Bites Dog has been suggested to me. That's a little hard to get a hold of. I'm in no rush to watch it. Subconscious Cruelty, unfamiliar. The guinea pig movies. Charlie Sheen certainly has an issue with guinea pig movies, and apparently that falls under the looks real and is trying to look real but isn't. Fooled Charlie Sheen. Yep, I'm familiar with it. I don't know if I have any urge to see it. Ebola syndrome. That's just another word for Singapore Sling. I'm going to beat that joke to death. I am unfamiliar with most of these. Kichiku? Isn't that the noise you make when you tickle a baby? Oh, wait. Oh, is that somehow relevant to the film? Because I didn't do that on purpose. Like, oh, Kichiku. There's a secret in my soup. All right, some of these titles just sound like jokes at this point. Grotesque. Yeah, we've Hole in My Heart. Thanatomorphosis. What? Thanatomorphose. Thanatomorphose. Nope. I can't even read it. Cannibal. And The Bunny Game. I have recently watched The Bunny Game. That is real life stuff. It's a hybrid, unsimulated activity with private parts. And then there are like other scenes that are fictitious. But if you have an issue with just borderline prawn, The Bunny Game's, it's short. I think it's like 70 minutes. You see, Charles, you're basically bobbing below the iceberg. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think The Bunny Game. I think the people who are familiar with it have watched it. Like I don't know if someone's like, oh man, I need to see what so and so has to say about The Bunny Game, because I don't know. This is the lists like this are like the cinematic equivalent to watching someone eat the world's spiciest potato chip or whatever. It's kind of like, ooh, let me see how bad they can, how much they can handle. Yeah, I don't have anything relevant to say about The Bunny Game. Dear Zachary, a letter to a son about his father. That's a long title. If I could type. Okay. This looks real. In 2001, Andrew Bagby, a medical resident, is eliminated not long after breaking up with his girlfriend. Soon after, when she announces she's pregnant, one of Andrew's many close friends, Kurt Kuhn, begins to film A Gift to the Child. Roger gives it 5 stars and doesn't talk about it. Roger, come on, man. I was counting on you. It's got a 4.4. What's weird is this list, this iceberg, a bunch of these movies are just like really, really well scored. I don't know how like real life stuff. That's where I'm like, nope, don't care. Not mention of any Lucifer Valentine films. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing. Without knowing the titles of his films, I don't know. We might have. There's a group there in the middle that I can't make out. But like I said earlier, some of these icebergs that I've been sent, like they're like really deep cuts. I appreciate the fact that like in the next to last tier, Salo is there. Like, yeah, I recognize that. So it makes me feel a little bit better. What happened to my knuckle? What did I spill on my finger? I figured August Underground would be on here. Maybe I missed it. I don't remember. Again, in the middle, towards the middle there in the top, it's hard for me to read it. That one is a bit too real. It's a tough watch, but in a different way, doesn't belong here. Which one? Troy, which one are you talking about? For one reason or another, Valentine is frequently on iceberg lists like this. It's odd when he's not. Okay. No more cold coffee. Have I seen any of his films? No. Do I want to? Also, no. Eh. All right, what was the last thing? Oh, yeah, so I have this Dear Zachary, a letter to a son. But like this feels like that photo looks very Dear Zachary, it's a documentary. Yeah, I like the scores are intriguing. Again, Roger gave it 5 out of 5. And on Letterboxd, it's a 4.4. I don't have the like my depression credits are pretty low. So I don't know if I could watch something like this and be like, yep, I'm gonna finish the day and do things like, you know, go outside and smile. Um I don't have enough happiness in my life to take something like that on. Like depressing and real life stuff and I no. I can't. Maybe someday. Maybe someday when I'm just overblown with just success and happiness, just to neutralize things and be like, oh, you know what? Life's going too well. Let me check back on that documentary that everyone seems to love. Up there's Jacob. Dear Zachary's incredible. I believe it. Roger giving it a 5 it's got my attention, and if that doesn't, the 4.4 on Letterboxd. I I I don't know. If you're someone who's seen all of these films and are meh about it, have you tried therapy? I don't, I don't, all right, last tier. Wow, I've seen one of the bottom tier ones. What the fuck does that mean? All right, so Playground, unfamiliar. Begotten, also unfamiliar. Angst, am familiar. Had done pre-production on, have watched it, have notes for it. If I wanted to, it could be a Who Would Like That video in a couple of weeks, couple of months' time. I started doing a video for Angst. I've seen it. I think the fact that it is a fiction that is based on real life things is where it gets gnarly. I think part of the I took notes. I think part of the issue with Angst is they try to stay very close to the real life stuff. In a they do certain filmmaking tactics. The cinematography is very wild, if I recall correctly. This weird like high angle that we're like constantly moving with the character. It's I guess it's like if you were to do it. I mean, how many movies about Dahmer are there? But like, it's very accurate. Uh, having seen Angst, I would put the Bunny Game below Angst. So Angst for gore reasons, for like empathy for human reasons, and then the fact that it's based on something that really happened. The gnarly trifecta, which I don't know if people can watch something like Dahmer stuff, like the television series Dahmer, and like, I mean, it was at the tip of people's tongues for a while. Like how I don't know if we as a society deserve to be one sometimes. Like if you're like okay and like cheering on the television series Dahmer, what issue would you have with Angst? I don't know. Jacob says this list is a mix between complete trash and some of the best films ever made. Yeah, I wrote 2 down. I'm going to look for the celebration and mysterious skin. Where was I? Angst. The embryo hunts in secret. Again, another just a chuckle of a title. It's like a Mad Libs of just something to make me laugh. The embryo hunts in secret. Oh, this is old. A man keeps his girlfriend tied up in his small apartment and tortures her. She's undressed because why would she be dressed? Subjected to various types of bondage. Whipped and more of that with a razor. And I think if I still do have AdSense, commercials, I don't think I do anymore. I'm adding Repulsion. You guys really don't like me. You know what? I should have pivoted, but we're getting a small taste of it. Maybe in the future, what I'll do is read. I've been wanting to do this anyway, and this isn't really the place for me to be bringing it up or thinking about it. But I'd like to read some of Roger's reviews on Letterboxd and just I don't know, vicariously hear his stories. I'm just so grateful that he did review stuff. And I mean, shit, how many have we've gone through so far? We've gone through like 4 movies, and Roger had reviews for them. So I don't know, maybe just a specific, story time from Roger's Letterboxd. I would like to do that. Again, I don't know if this is the place to bring it up, but I don't know. I miss him. God damn it. Red Room. Is that the 2023 movie? There's a lot of Red Rooms. Red Rooms is the 2023 movie. Dude, how many fucking Red Room are there? Red Room. Red Room. I think this is the movie I'm thinking of that a lot of people told me I should see, but let's assume that this is it. How low would you go to win $1 million? Pretty low. Just how desperate are you for the cash? Pretty desperate. Desperate enough to enter the Red Room? Where is it? In this latest and most vicious game show to emerge from the Japanese underground. Man, Japan, speaking of therapy, you good? You want to talk to someone? 4 contestants, a husband and wife on the edge of divorce, an office lady, and a schoolgirl, are locked in the Red Room to draw cards in the King game. Whoever draws the King selects 2 others to enter a cage where one of them performs the most outrageous acts upon his or her unlucky victim. The game is played to the death. Survivor takes all. So it's just 1 versus 3? There's always got to be a schoolgirl. Well, it's Japan, so. Mysterious Skin is a harrowing coming-of-age story. Think River's Edge or Bully. I haven't seen River's Edge. I did see Bully. Okay. Red Rooms have been something of a fixation for people for the last handful of years. I'm guessing the schoolgirl wins. They're vicious. You got to subvert the expectations. Like, by that logic, things like, what the fuck's the movie? There's a bunch of them, like the precursor to Saws. Fuck, is it called The Circle? There's Exam. There's something, I think it's called Circle, with Rita from Dexter's in that, who's also in Saw 6. The Red Rooms from 2024 is fantastic. Red Room is just exploitation. Got it. Tumbling Doll of Flesh. That is the nickname for my gallbladder. Makes Hostel look complex in comparison. Yikes. Black Metal Veins. Green Elephant. Celluloid Nightmares. Fetus. Aftermath. Vase de Noises. That cannot be English. We'll look at the last one because maybe that's like the bottom of the barrel. Oh. Roger? Nope, no Roger. Thank God. A mad farmer falls in love with his pig and has mutant piglets with it. When the piglets prefer their mother over him. Jeez. I was hoping you were reading that because I'm not saying it. Holy fuck. Yeah, and the wedding trough is from 1974. Like, that movie's 50 years old? Only 50? 51. Green Elephant. All right, well, I'm having issues just reading this nonsense. Okay, back to Green Elephant. Once again, no Roger. Thank goodness. Wow, look at all the scores here. Interesting. It's an average of 3.0, but all of the scores are all over the place. 2 Russian prisoners are abused mentally and physically. Great synopsis. Oh. So, Solo but awesome. 213 people agree with that. This happened to me and my buddy John. You had me at Solo but awesome. Actually, you don't have me, but as much as I don't like people taking the piss on Letterboxd, that got me. I mean, granted, I just reviewed M3gan 2.0 and I just said, yikes. Okay, so yeah, that is this variation on the Disturbing Film Iceberg. I guess I'll take this moment to remind you about the Disturbing Film Challenge. 15 films, 10 that you need to watch, and you choose 5 from the right side. Keep track of your progress. Share the link with me or email me a copy of the video. And it'll be some sort of collection to see what people have to, what their personal experiences are and their notes, their vlogs, anything else they have to say about it, their progress, their lack of progress, why they quit. Yeah, all of it. All of it counts. Only watch what you want to, what you can. Stop if you can't handle any of it, even if it's just the credits on the first film. Fine. Let me know why. Or don't do this at all, which I'm assuming a lot of you won't be doing. But I promise it's for some sort of scientific reason. I don't know if scientific is what I would say. It's we're trying to do some sort of a I don't know. I don't. I need content. What do you want me to say? Uh, uh, no, I'm intrigued. I would like to see where people's lines are. And again, I'll say it. No Toy Story 3 on the list. Yeah, I could. Someone asked about 27 Dresses. I didn't see it. Troy says, I've seen them all except Cuties. Did I draw the line at the right place? See, that's a question that only you could answer. I just think, like, having everyone contribute and I know Cody, who has watched Martyrs, Coffee Table. He's watched obviously Titan and Raw. I know the Coffee Table. He very much had an issue with. So there are some things that, what is terrible for one person isn't really registering for others. I think that's fascinating. Is there a line and is there a right place? The right place is to not watch any of this. That's the right place. But for experimentation's sake, let's find the line. That's interesting. Troy, if you've... Wait a minute, let me go back here. Troy, if you've watched Lolita, yeah, wait, Happiness, Lolita. You watched Elle, Salo, Kids. Like I think you can handle Cuties. Like if you've watched those, but haven't watched Cuties, I think Cuties is a thing that if it weren't on Netflix, and broadened to an American audience, I don't know if it would have the same infamy as it has. I think it's just a situation where, granted, the marketing was funky, but the messaging, I hate doing this, the messaging in Cuties, I think was pretty fair. And for as much as people like, this is disgusting, how dare they do this? Yes, but they're going to these great lengths to prove a point. And the point is, in France, the country where this film came from, child beauty pageants have been outlawed for, I would say, like 10 years by now. But us as Americans are like, this is disgusting. How dare they do this? We have a problem with this fiction, but at the same time, we still have child beauty pageants. So we have a problem with the fiction, but we're still doing something that is kind of equally gross in real life. And did they go over the line in their presentation of their point? Sure. Do they have a good point? Also, sure. So I don't know. People give me a weird look when I start going into my, well, hold on a second. But I think their point is quite valid in that movie. Child beauty pageants are just sick. The problem with Cuties is similar to the problem with Cannibal Holocaust. It's guilty of the thing it's criticized. Yes, that right. So they could have done that without using the same visual cues. Again, something I've noticed very much with these French extremist movies is that you can get the point across without stepping so far over the line and thus replicating the thing that you're criticizing. And you lot still have it, which is bad. Oh, you're talking about America. Yeah, I have not attended one. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. But then again, I don't understand beauty pageants just outright. Keep in mind, I'm the same person that was talking about not taking context of a film into, uh, well, never mind. Let me not bury myself any further. Anyone else can do it just fine without me. Yeah, so don't know what the future holds for the who would like that content because as much as it's a grower, not a shower, those videos, the last 4 or 5 that I've done for that haven't done well at all. Like the Dead Girl video, which I was sort of proud of, at least with the edit, has not hit 170 views yet. It's been out for a week. I don't know. There are times where like the Solo video just gets a couple of thousand every year. So like I don't know how to gauge things, but recently the last couple haven't done well. Although I thought the Poughkeepsie Tapes video was very similar, where it only had like 100 or a couple of hundred right off the bat. It's at 1,000 now, so I don't know. They don't move very well, and in most cases, it's very hard to monetize on those. Which, man, like double trouble. Not getting views and not getting monetization. Just what? Why even bother? So I don't know what the future holds. It would have to be just out of me wanting to do it, or if a patron sponsors the content and produces the content, as happened with the Poughkeepsie Tapes. I don't know. I don't have it like that where I can just make a separate channel where it's like, okay, here's all that stuff that you want, and I'm gonna do regular show business stuff here. I don't know. It's one of those things where the numbers speak to me more than anyone else, or a producer via Patreon. So I don't know what to tell you. A grower, not a shower. This is the guy complaining about AdSense on subject. I watched Hellraiser for a channel I interact with on YouTube, so I think I can do this. Hellraiser? Okay. My comment was a joke, but true. I just haven't seen Cuties. I didn't draw a hard line there. I just never watched. Come and See and Happiness would have generated more traffic than Dead Girl, I think. Dead Girl, it was a product of circumstance. It wasn't like, all right, I need to talk about this. It was something else. Happiness... Come and See's brutal. Happiness, what does that mean that I'm saying that? Happiness, I would have an easier time talking about and producing content for. Come and See is fucking brutal. I would need to rewatch it too. And again, depression points are either low or high, depending on how you want to grade just not being happy. Especially if you timed it with the Criterion releases. Yeah, I fucked up. I had it on the docket. I was prepared for it. Problem was I traveled, I think, as it came out. So I don't dispute that, Jacob. I would hate to put a lot of effort into it and have it be just like Dead Girl. That would suck. So I don't know what the future holds. But we'll see. I'll watch the Celebration, Mysterious Skin, and Repulsion, and sometimes it's just me being motivated to talk about something that I want to talk about. That's what I do YouTube for, because I want to talk about shit, not because I need to make a certain amount of money, because I'm not doing any of that. But at the same time, if I can get monetization and or view counts to offset the time spent on it, it's a little bit easier to put time aside for that. I don't know. I'm talking myself into circles. So let me know if you were paying attention that whole time and you were able to read some of the shit in the middle. Let me know which videos or which movies you have watched. Do you think any of those films should be lower or higher on the tier? And do you disagree, agree? Do you think some of them shouldn't even be on this list? Do you have movies that you think should be on the list? Let me know. Click subscribe and thumbs up. And also, if you're watching this and able to comment down below, 3748. Just comment that. I just want to know that you're paying attention.